we're looking at the ClearFlow Core Gateway Controller. So hopefully you saw the first video, which gave an overview of the product and how and where you might use it in the system. In this short video, we're just going to look at the front panel, just briefly describe to you what the various connections are, what they're there for, what you can use them for, and then we're going to connect it up to a laptop, and we're going to make a start with the basic programming of the unit. That'll be covered in another video, but we're going to just get the setup covered in this video. So on the front panel, you see there's a series of ports on the front. I'm just going to run through them quickly so that we can, so I can just describe to you what each one is and does. So just starting on the left hand side here, we've got our console port, and that is a basic serial port for software debugging. There are two USBs, as you can see, a USB 2.0 and a 3.0. They're there for flashing firmware or for data transfer, such as offloading logs and that kind of thing. They're probably like the least likely ports out of all of them to be used. So the remaining 5 ports are the main ones that we're going to use in the system. So you'll see there's various labels on them. Each one's got its own Ethernet tag. So they're all Ethernet ports. So in fact, the initial port here, or the first one you get to working in from left to right, is a dedicated WAN port, which is where you'll bring your ISP, your Internet Service Provider cable in from your provider's router. And then the next 3 ports are labelled LAN and WAN, so they're configurable, so that you can either have them as individual LANs or individual WANs. This could be, if you needed individual WANs, this could be used for if you have multiple providers, for example, or it could be if you wanted multiple LANs for perhaps, I don't know, having a guest network or that kind of thing. So there's a few things you can do, or applications that you might choose for having multiple LANs or WANs. Each one of these has got an Ethernet tag, as you can see, ETH 1 to 5. ETH 2 to 5 do have full 48 volt PoE self-adaptive ports, so if you connect an AP directly to it, it will be powered and data will be transferred. So it's a full gigabit switch with PoE. Of course, if you need more ports, if you've got more APs, then you can just loop out of one of these LANs and into an additional switch should you require. So when we're going to program the unit, we're actually going to use the dedicated LAN port, because as you'll see at the end, there is a dedicated LAN port. Now the LAN and the WAN, ETH 1 and 5, they're never changed, they're fixed. And that's important because obviously you don't want to accidentally configure them all for WAN and then you don't have any LANs and you'd have to reset the unit and start again. Incidentally, if you do need to reset the unit, there is a reset button on this far side as well. Press and hold for 15 seconds and the unit will go back to factory. Okay, so now we're going to plug in the power to the controller and connect it up to the laptop, and then we can commence the programming. So the power cable plugs into the back of the unit, and then I've got a patch cable here which we're going to plug into the LAN port on my laptop, and plugging it into Ethernet 5, which is the dedicated LAN port. That's important because that can never be reconfigured as any other format other than as a LAN. So the reason we're using a laptop is because there's no default wireless capabilities in the controller itself, so obviously we're going to need to hardwire it. The procedure or the process that you would go through when you're setting this unit up is that you'll program the controller in full, how you want it to be configured in your system, and then when you've completed the programming, you will then connect your APs into it. So of course, until the APs are connected, there's no wireless capability. So hopefully, while I've been talking, the units have booted up. You'll know when it's booted because you'll see 2 solid lights on the front panel, which you'll see as a system light, which should be green, and a power light, which should be red, which they're both solid now. So it means that hopefully, if I open up the browser and type in the default IP address, which is on the back of the unit, which is 172.16.0.1, there we go, we've hit the login screen. So they're both default username and password are both admin, so I'd recommend that you change your default password to something else just to make sure that you're protecting your system. But as you can see, once we've got these 2 fields populated, we click login and we've landed on the dashboard. So now we're ready to commence programming of the controller. So the programming is all covered in a series of other videos, so do check them out. They're on the YouTube channel, but for more details as well, there's information on the product on our website, which is antiference.co.uk. So thank you for watching.